The U.S. have made it to the Gold Cup final, and they will play Mexico, and it's going to be fantastic. Now, we'll get into the game, but first, just want to make a mention. Rest in peace to Diogo Jota and Andre Silva. Saw the news yesterday morning that they were killed in a car crash, and I mean, this is just... it's just awful. Reminds you of the fragility of life. Obviously, thoughts go out to everyone associated with their families. It's horrible. So this is one of those moments where the football world come together, and it's great to see everyone putting out the tributes and everything. So I just wanted to be able to say my own piece. It's tough. It's tough news to see and take. Now, the weird thing about life and football as well is it keeps moving on. So what we're going to do here is break down this U.S. match against Guatemala. So welcome to Campfire Football. I'm Sebastian North. All right, so basically, Pochettino's just been rolling out the same starting lineup every match, but one little tweak that I noticed here is that they really went with a 2-3-2-3 formation. So you have your back two of Ream and Richards. Then you would see very frequently a midfield three really in line, right? You'd have Berhalter, Adams, and De La Torre more or less on the same horizontal level. That's not something we've seen a lot. We've normally seen De La Torre in with Adams deeper and then Berhalter a little higher. Here, the three of them were deep. Then you had your wide guys, which were Freeman and Arfston, your fullbacks, pretty much on the exact same line. And then Tillman and Luna were sometimes pushing even higher than Ajimang. So this is a slight difference from what we saw. They really played with basically three up front. And so when the ball would get switched and go out to the fullbacks, now Luna is actually making runs in behind, or at least trying to, or like he does right here, making the run, dragging the defender with him, and then cutting back and receiving the ball. It's just very good movement off the ball there. All the Guatemalan team goes stretched over to one side, and now you can switch it. And Freeman, which he wasn't doing this much early in the tournament, now getting involved in the attack and providing that option. I think this is really good from Freeman because he needs to be involved in the attack if he's going to have any kind of influence and if he's going to get himself into the team next year. So he does well, gets his ball, very good ball back to Tillman. I think Tillman should be shooting this one because he has absolutely no idea that there's a defender right behind him. He cuts it back, should probably lose this, but he's lucky that De La Torre is the one who's there. De La Torre's shot on target is right at the goalkeeper, but the save is infinitely worse. Now, here's what I like. Look at Ajimang. As soon as that shot is taken and he sees the goalkeeper parrying this, he's already running, and the defender's trying to hold on to him to keep him from getting there. Thing is that it ends up going in Luna's direction. He's quick to pounce on it, take a touch from his right to his left, finish, and it's 1-0 in 3.5 minutes. This is a great start, and they deserve to go 2-0 up, and I love this goal as well. This is beautiful from Luna, but also there's a couple other players that deserve credit here. This is a little bit funny from Ajimang right here. He sort of turns his back and loses the ball. He's hilarious because he's actually still using his body and keeping the defender away from it. The U.S. recover it here, and this is great from Berhalter. Being very aggressive, getting all over the defender, and making sure that he does not foul. Wins it back. Tillman lays it off to him. Berhalter plays it inside to Ajimang, and Ajimang, keep it simple. This is what I said about him in the match against Costa Rica. He actually does quite well when he keeps things to very limited touches and lays the ball off for oncoming midfielders who are facing forward. And Tillman here can just hit a raking ball across the field. Fantastic switch of play out to Luna, and now he is running. He's got Arston coming with him, which means the defenders can't double up on him, and Luna just goes to work. Little step over the outside, cuts inside. The shot low and hard into the near post is excellent, and it's 2-0. So the weird thing for the U.S. is that they start games well, but they very rarely actually take a 2-goal lead. We just haven't seen them go 2 goals up, so they don't know how to manage this situation correctly. And what they tried to do was just that, manage the game, slow things down a little bit. I remember on the commentary, Stu Holden was talking about how good it is that they were kind of slowing things down. And honestly, I disagree because this team is not experienced enough to do that. That is a subtle skill to be able to sort of take your foot off the gas, but keep full control of the game. The thing is that when you take your foot off the gas and you stop pressuring as much and you stop attacking as much, you give the other team an impetus to come forward. And now what you've got is De La Torre, Adams, and Berhalter just dropping off. And then you've got a front three who have left a massive gap. And so Guatemala are now able to pick up the ball, look up, and decide where they want to play it. Switches of play to the far side. Then they can look up and size up balls into the box. And the fact that this ball right here lands in the penalty area, I understand these guys are offside, but this kind of ball, this trajectory, should not bounce in your box. It just should not happen. And so this was a little bit concerning. And when they scored, I was like, I mean, this is a defensive disaster. Turns out, actually, yes, it was offside. As you can see, Arfson and Ream do a very good job of allowing their forwards to run in behind them. But this is risky business, especially when you've got Berhalter and Tillman here not pressuring the ball. They are redundant. They need to be 1 or 2 yards closer to make sure that this kind of ball gets blocked. And that was the issue going through the rest of the first half. We would see another instance right here where a big ball over the top, Luna kind of pressuring, but nowhere near close enough. 4 Guatemalan players running forward. Ream is very good as a defender. Trust me, I love Ream, but he's not fast enough for you to demand him to always be the one to win this ball against international forwards who at times are going to be very, very quick. And so this put them in a bad position. This frankly should have been a goal. I don't know how Rubio Rubin misses this. Good players will punish you for this. And I think the U.S. need to understand that if they get a lead against Mexico, they cannot try and sit on it. You have to go and try and get more goals. Go and get the third. Go and get the fourth. Beat up the other team to where they don't have any belief left that they can come back. And a third goal would have done that in this match. So then we get into the second half, and man, was it sloppy. By this time, Aronson had come on for De La Torre. De La Torre had pretty ineffective game, but he wasn't the only one struggling to keep the ball. It was happening all over the place. I mean, that pass right there meant for Adams is kind of strange. Adams actually, I think, realizing that he can leave it for Tillman, but that's still a weird thing to do right in the middle of the pitch. It's a high risk to take. Tillman has to reach to keep the ball. What I like, though, here is Freeman getting involved. I mean, we haven't seen this until this match, and it makes a big difference to have someone bombing up the right wing who can put crosses in. And Ajimang, at some point, is going to have to put these kinds of things in the back of the net. He's huge, so he wins so many of these headers. But it's good to see him get the header, get it on frame. I just like to see him score more of those. But this was one of the very few moments of real positivity for the U.S. in the second half, and they just tried to hang on, basically, which is not what we want to see them do. And eventually, really, it's the backing off that would cause the problem. So what you'll see here is there was a substitution made, very strange one in my opinion. Luna coming off is not strange. That's happened every match. Adams coming off was a little bit weird. Now, Pochettino, I think, did mention that maybe Adams had a little bit of a knock. He didn't really want to take a risk with him, but Berhalter is not the guy for that position. Take a look at Berhalter here. He has allowed 3 Guatemalan players off his back, and all of them are literally putting their hand out asking for the ball because they're all in a position where they can receive it because he is too far ahead. He can't see any of them. No one's marking any of these players. So when the ball gets played through, it's really nice, simple combinations, and they basically just wander right through the middle of the U.S. defense. Nobody comes close to making a tackle or putting a body on, and the ball gets put in, and it's 2-1 with 10 minutes to play. And there would be one more chance. This is where you start to see desperation defending, naive defending, Tillman sliding in and missing the ball, Aronson somehow getting megged, and even though he trips the guy, he's the one who falls over. That's just lightweight and weak. The U.S. are very lucky, actually, that this touch is underneath Morales. He can't generate much power. All of it's got to come from just the back lift because he's wide open. If he has just a little bit more room, he can run up and hit this with a lot more power and maybe score. Good thing is Freese does well to get there and pat the ball away, but in the end, the U.S. get out 2-1 winners and go to the final. And so this right here is the tactical board and the setup that I think we'll see for the final. This is Mexico's starting lineup from the semis. I imagine they'll probably roll out the same thing or something very similar, but this is a very strong team. Jimenez, Alvarez, Montes, and Vasquez in the back, and this is going to be a great test for the U.S. Now, the question is, will Pochettino roll out this system that he just played, or will he adapt again? I think we'll see something slightly different from Pochettino. I imagine Adams will probably drop into the back three in possession a lot more. I imagine De La Torre will drop into here, and then you'll have Berhalter, Luna, and probably Tillman centrally. A little more what we saw in the early stages. And I think Arfson and Freeman will probably be a little more conservative in the way they go forward. But look, I think the U.S. is going to roll out their same starting lineup on the ball once they get forward. They'll have a double pivot like this. It'll be a nice, simple 4-2-3-1. And look, it's all going to come down to how players are able to manage the moments. I think this U.S. team have done what they needed to do. They needed to get to this final. They needed to beat the rest of the CONCACAF teams, set up a showdown with Mexico and a Mexico A team, and now we'll see what they're really made of. All in all, this has been a very valuable Gold Cup because we've seen a lot of players who may not make it to the World Cup squad next summer, but a few who might. And you start to wonder, guys like Sargent, guys like Reyna, like, are they necessary when you've got people like this? I'm really enjoying what I've seen from this team. I think that Pochettino, despite having gotten a lot of flack for some of the decisions he's made, waiting for subs, all that, he deserves credit because the team is winning and they are absolutely improving game to game. So we'll see what happens. Very, very much looking forward to this final. Thank you all for stopping by. I'm Sebastian North. This is Campfire Football. Take it easy.